Mom invited the neighbors' kids and friends to enjoy a totally chill weekend here. It's like planting a seed of dreams for the kids missing out on sports fun due to tight budgets. But when Kaiji happily returned downstairs, he found Eve had been dropped by his wife. Turns out they got photographed doing charity at the subway and ended up in the newspaper. People are so bored. His wife claimed Kaiji and Eve were up to something, ignoring his explanations. Subtitles. His wife practically reduced Kaiji to being penniless. She must have had some other thoughts brewing in her mind all along. Facing the sudden storm, Kaiji surprisingly remained calm, grabbed 2 suitcases, and left without a backward glance. Meanwhile, Eve was tangled with her ex-husband, who was compromising his pride just for cash. Eve felt utterly trapped and had to flee, only for fate to throw them together at the same hotel. Even though they both had their own rooms booked, the hotel staff recognized them instantly and got all flustered. Everyone thought they were performing a dramatic betrayal. Little did they know this was a script written by his wife. Then, Kaiji publicly announced his divorce, but when signing the agreement, his wife demanded all the winnings. Considering their long marriage, Kaiji reluctantly agreed to give her all $1 million. What a benevolent subtitles. But his wife's greed was clearly far greater. She even wanted to reclaim the $2 million he had initially given to Eve. Kaiji was so furious he grabbed her. He was about to blow a gasket. His ex-wife eyed her lawyer and claimed long-term emotional and physical abuse. What a move. Their 10+ years of marriage ended up in court over money disputes. It was like a scene ripped straight from a script. So the winnings rightfully belonged to the buyer, but how could honest Kaiji compete with his cunning ex-wife? His ex-wife disregarded facts, claiming a late dad guided her lottery purchase via a dream. How magical. Even crazier, she insisted Kaiji had violent tendencies and forced her to share the winnings with the so-called aunt's boyfriend. Subtitles. Plus, she was photographed by reporters entering a hotel with Kaiji just a few days ago. It's truly both laughable and exasperating. Although the aunt's boyfriend clarified he was done with her ex, the ex-wife had already set the trap for public. She pre-released a sympathy article depicting Kaiji as a bad guy. What an act. She painted the aunt's boyfriend as a gold digger, and the ex-wife easily gained the upper hand. Talk about manipulation. With merely a tiny bit of sympathy, Kaiji and his uncle's future instantly collapsed, and in the end, they still lost to the ex-wife. Outside, reporters waited anxiously for the result, while the uncle fled in panic under scrutiny. The former lottery girl hit the headlines again, and for the first time, Kaiji felt the city's coldness. A wave of public opinion tried to drown them. Kaiji went to the aunt's house but couldn't find anyone. Then she sat on the subway for what felt like ages, eventually strolling into the familiar restaurant. She found her aunt's boyfriend quietly sitting in the moonlight. Kaiji thought about giving him some comfort. Subtitles. But her uncle, by marriage aunt's husband, actually advised her to leave promptly, which, to me, was truly a pointless piece of advice. They embraced tenderly, caring more about who would be by their side in the future, so they made a decision. They decided to start fresh in a new city, with Kaiji continuing as a cop. His aunt's boyfriend kept being a waiter, and they planned a peaceful life together, but their daydream was interrupted by a knock on the door. A homeless man stood outside, hoping for a meal, and Kaiji and his aunt's boyfriend welcomed him in without hesitation. The charity table was still in place, and then the homeless man sneaked out a camera. What a twist. Although the verdict stayed the same, the reporters' coverage cleared their names. It was like a movie-style comeback. They had no clue about it while preparing to say goodbye to the city, only to find the place stuffed with letters. Every letter was a tip from citizens. Love was pouring in. People formed the Kaiji and Aunt's Boyfriend Fund. It's so great that everyone thinks they're a warm city like this one that kind people feel cold. So donations kept rolling. The donation hit an amazing $600,000. Absolutely bonkers. The aunt's boyfriend redeemed his restaurant, and Kaiji returned to the familiar police station. As for the ex-wife, she married a rich old guy on a cruise, but turns out he was a total fraud. Soon afterwards, he made off with all her properties and vanished completely without a trace. Left with no choice, the ex-wife had to lower her pride and took a job at a nail salon. What irony. In the city centre, wedding balloons floated up, and Kaiji and aunt's boyfriend released paper petals. What a romantic scene. The paper petals danced in the air, like ribbons celebrating their love. Pure magic. In real life, we might seldom land the jackpot, but fate always has a way of arranging things right. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe.